recollection of last year, Gary trying to get everyone to be quiet for a very long time. You guys were great. Thank you so much. You made this so much easier. So this morning, on my way here in my Jeep Wrangler, I had the top down and classical music playing and the seat heater on, and it was so cold. I just remember thinking, wow, this is great. Maybe this is a metaphor for the school year. I don't know. I'm always warm, and it's not particularly cool in here, but I'm going to reach back to that moment all across the course of the year. Just like to set that in your mind for something to think about. It was a beautiful thing. So, welcome to everyone. I'm thrilled to be here as the new Director of Human Resources for the New Canaan Public Schools. This is surreal. It's very surreal. It's truly been an exciting summer, meeting many of the new staff, and I'm very much looking forward to working with all of you in my new capacity. We want you to know that our district is very proud of you and the ways in which you demonstrate on a daily basis your dedication, your commitment to our students and also to their families. So for all you do for the district and for our students, I just want to start the year by saying thank you so much, and we can't say that enough to you. Thank you. Give yourselves a hand. First, some introductions and some welcomes to our very important Board of Education members who are here to wish you well this morning. Our board chair, Brendan Hayes, is here. And board members, Katrina Parkhill, Sherry West, and Jen Richardson. Who couldn't be here, we want to thank them as well. We know that we're in their thoughts. Some of them are off to sending children to college and all sorts of fun activities at this point in the year. So thank you to all of them. We're so fortunate to have this group of dedicated citizens who truly understand and support the importance of the work that we do. I just want to thank all of them for their time and their energy in this endeavor. It's hard, and it's a lot of work, and it's a big commitment. So thank you so much for all you do to support us. Also with us this morning is our esteemed First Selectman, Kevin Moynihan, and friend of education. Welcome, Kevin. I'd also like to welcome our cabinet members, led by our wonderful superintendent, Dr. Brian Lunsey. Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, Dr. Jill Correnti. Hi, Jill. You just totally threw me off. Director of Finance and Operations, Dr. Joanne Keating. Good morning, Joanne. And our new Director of Pupil and Family Services, Bill Tesberg. Woo! Hey, Bill. I'd also like to take a moment to recognize our school resource officers that you all work with on a daily basis. Their work's really important, and here this morning with us is Jeff Deek, who is our SRO at staff. Jeff Lambert couldn't be with us this morning. He's our school resource officer at New Canaan High School, so thank you to him as well. I'd also like to express our gratitude to Mrs. Michelle Santilli and her staff for coordinating this wonderful breakfast. Michelle? And also to our wonderful parents who volunteered their time to serve in our parent associations that so kindly joined us this morning and assisted us with our wonderful breakfast. Hoping to have some later for our parents. Now I'd like to share with you some of our new members to our staff. 3 new special education administrators have joined us this summer. Please welcome Bob Rousseau at the elementary level. I'm sorry, that should have been later, but this is our South School interim principal. John Grosso. Hey, John. Welcome, John. Now, I'd like to share with you our 3 new special education administrators. So please welcome Bob Rousseau at the elementary level. Vanessa Vissners at Saks. You'll find Vanessa later. And Tammy Hartman at New Canaan High School. It's been a busy summer. We have welcomed 26 new staff members to New Canaan Public Schools, and I'd like to introduce you now, and to be recognized, I would ask that new staff members please stand as I show your picture by level. So at East School, Krishna Lynch, school psychologist. Megan White's grade 1. Shannon O'Donnell, special education. Jessica Marcinic, kindergarten. Natalie Riker, kindergarten long-term sub. And Victoria Merritt, grade 3 long-term sub. Welcome to all of you. At West School, we have Lauren Haggerty, a preschool long-term sub. Vanessa Tessitore, an occupational therapist. Jane Munson in special education. Alexis Palazzo, grade 1 long-term sub. Alexandra Pearson, special education. And Emily Tintrip, preschool. South School and in some district positions, we have Mary Kate Nicholas, a psychologist who will be shared between East and West schools. Naomi Sapadin, special education at South. And Kathy Lynn Grimes, K-4 reading coordinator, all 3 elementary schools. At Saks, we have a grade 8 math long-term sub, Alex Durrell. Gina Devoto, math grade 7. Karen Possig, school counselor. Swan Lee Smith, Mandarin. And Robert Santoro, also math grade 7. New Canaan High School, Michael LeDuc, physical science. Christopher Parsons, special education. Michael Forsucci, social studies. Rebecca Pavia, math teacher. Lindsay Reel, school counselor. Mary Kavanaugh, science. I'm so glad that you're all excited about our new hires. I truly was as well all summer. It's been really fun meeting all of you, and I'm so excited for you that you're here with us. Now we have greetings from several speakers to bring you this morning. First is a wonderful supporter of education and the New Canaan Public Schools from the town of New Canaan. Please join me in welcoming our first selectman, Mr. Kevin Moynihan.
Good morning. It's my pleasure to be here with you this morning and my pleasure to welcome you all back to New Canaan, and especially for the new teachers who are new to New Canaan. Last time I spoke to a group this large, they can't vote for me, was when I spoke to the fifth graders. All the fifth graders were sacked last year. And I remember in the Q&A session, one young man jumped up, he said, "What are you going to do about the drug problem at the high school?" So the truth of the matter is, I don't have, as first selectman, which is other cities in Connecticut are mayors, I don't have a lot to do with the Board of Education or the education program. Last year I always said I don't even have a vote. I only break ties on the Board of Finance and the Town Council. So last April I had to break a tie on the Town Council to not cut the Board of Education budget further. I was happy to do that. So I'd like to take a few minutes today to make some comments about New Canaan and about education. And I want to start just by reading. I don't have a speechwriter, but I did prepare my comments for the high school graduation, the commencement in June. And I want to read to you first just a brief section of what I said to the graduates. For most of you graduates, New Canaan will always be fondly remembered as your hometown, whether you were born here or moved here. I moved here 38 years ago, and New Canaan now feels like my second hometown, because New Canaan is where I raised my two children, both of whom are proud graduates of New Canaan High School. You graduates are very fortunate to have New Canaan as your hometown, because New Canaan is a special place. New Canaan is special because we are a community filled with educated, talented, and generous people. New Canaan is special because we are a community that values public schools with great administrators and great teachers. New Canaan is special because we are a community that values achievement in the classroom, on the athletic field, in the arts, and in volunteer activities. New Canaan is special because we are a community that values diversity and is welcoming to all regardless of race, religion, or sexual orientation. And New Canaan is special because we are a community that cares for and respects one another, and we celebrate each other's successes. I say that about New Canaan being special not to be boastful. We are a very fortunate community. And the key to our success is education. I'd like to tell you a little personal story about myself, because when you prepare to talk for something about to a group like this, memories come back and you have thoughts that you'd never really have, and I haven't had these thoughts for years. I grew up in Western Massachusetts, in a manufacturing GE town, and I had a very normal elementary school education. But when I got to junior high school, I was tracked with lower achieving students. I remember being in classrooms where chaos reigned. Education could not occur. I mean, literally, it was chaos. And then I had a teacher who, I think, decided I didn't belong in that level where they attract me. And she moved me to another level. That one teacher changed my life. I went on to high school, became one of about 30 National Merit Scholars in a graduating class of 806. I got a scholarship at Georgetown University, and my Georgetown education was the key to the rest of my life. And that's what's true. I went on to law school. I went on to become a lawyer in Wall Street. I had a great career for 35 years. And that's what's key about New Canaan. The parents, I chose New Canaan because I was moving from Chicago at the time, and we looked at different communities. I chose New Canaan as most New Canaan parents do. They choose where to live when they decide to work in Manhattan or work in the greater metropolitan New York area. And education is really what it's all about in terms of why New Canaan residents are so successful. There are great jobs in New York City, in law, in finance, in the media, and it's a very, the best and the brightest are attracted to Manhattan. And they make a lot of money. We're a very affluent town. But I think what's important is we're also a very nice town. People respect one another. People, they appreciate education. They support education. So that's one of the vignettes I wanted to tell you about how one teacher can make such a difference in a person's life. Secondly, My son Brendan, who's 41 now, lives in Greenwich, was a elementary school teacher at East, and he was being bullied. He was being bullied so much that he didn't want to go to school. So we pulled him out of, rather than having him go to Saks for middle school, we put him in St. Luke's. Last weekend I was being interviewed by a classmate of his who said he was also bullied, physically bullied. So my son, fortunately, at St. Luke's, was able to have a relationship with a great man in town, Dick Whitcomb, who was head of school at the time. He changed my son's life. And my son came back to the high school. But those two issues, bullying and being able to have an environment where education occurs, it's a memory that I really find hard to believe when I look back at the chaos that reigned in that first middle school experience I had in junior high school. So with that said, I want to make a few more remarks about New Canaan. Superintendent doesn't like to be reminded, but this is about a $100 million a year investment. About $91 million, plus the debt service to maintain all these beautiful buildings we have. But we're very proud of the results. We're going to have a call on Wednesday with Moody's, because we're going to do a $24 million financing or refinancing of our bonds. And we're going to tell Moody's, because they look at the strength of management in the town. And we have a very strong administration when it comes to education. USA Today, best high school in every state. U.S. News and World Report, top 2% of high schools in the USA. Forbes Magazine, number 2 district in the nation. SchoolDigger.com, number 1 school district in Connecticut. Niche.com, number 1 best public school district in Connecticut. Number 1, 3, and 4 best public elementary school in Connecticut. Number 2 best public high school in Connecticut. West Elementary Blue Ribbons Award 2018. Now, I may have taken the superintendent's thunder, but I want to mention this and congratulate the superintendent, the administration, the Board of Education for the wonderful job they do to produce what our residents really appreciate, because they know how important education is to their children, to the value of our homes in New Canaan. And so I also wanted to, in closing, make one comment. Back on May 30th, a mother of 5 students at country school disappeared. And we've had trouble as a town to relate to that. She was not from New Canaan. She had moved to New Canaan 2 years prior to when she was divorcing her husband. I think she lived in Avon. And 5 children at country school who won't be returning to country school. But we still think of Jennifer Doulos. If you have students who are troubled, or the news continues, the national news continues about this, we don't know what happened to Jennifer. I have no inside information. It continues to be a criminal investigation. But we do keep Jennifer in our hearts. So with that, I want to thank you for everything you do to make New Canaan a terrific school district. And I want to welcome all those new members who I hope you have long and successful careers with New Canaan Public Schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin, for those deep to be the best it can be. Here to welcome you to the new school year from the New Canaan Board of Education is Board Chair Brendan Hanks.
Thank you. Thanks, Arlene. Good morning to everybody. To those who are new, welcome, and welcome back to everybody else. I feel a lot of energy in the room. I just want to recognize my fellow board members. Thanks for being here, and thanks for all of the hard work that you provide. You're dedicated, thoughtful, and clearly energetic. It's been great to work with you, as well as the administration, to support the New Canaan Public Schools. I hope you all have had an enjoyable summer. Hopefully you've gotten some rest, spent some time with family and friends. Maybe you've gotten some travel and some reading done. I have 3 boys, and it's almost impossible for me to get any reading done during the school year. But during the summer, I get a little bit done. It's a good time to relax and recharge. Hopefully you all have had have had the chance to do that. I'm sure you all know that this past July was the 50th anniversary of the moon landing, which happened on July 20th, 1969. In anticipation of that, my wife bought me a book about the lead up to the moon landing. The book detailed the technological background of rocketry and computing and flight, as well as the government investment that was required to actually get it done. It's pretty amazing. But in 1961, shortly after Kennedy became president, he basically, he said, we're going to go to the moon by the end of the decade, which was pretty bold at the time. He wasn't sure if it was possible. His administration wasn't sure. The scientists weren't sure if it was achievable. But really against all odds, with massive government investment, teamwork, technological advancement, it happened. It led to, many innovations that were sort of tangential to the primary goal that are hugely impactful to our lives today, like computing as one, but there are many examples. What struck me though was how much focus the government had on educating our kids. So in 1958, Eisenhower's government signed the Defense Education Act, which created massive federal investment in what we now call STEM. That was broadened by Kennedy's government in 1964, added history, civics, geography, English. They linked this really directly to our investment in the space program. We have all benefited hugely from those investments. So what STEM was back in 1957 is very different from what it is today. That's a huge part of what was done by the federal government and locally by towns such as New Canaan. Here in New Canaan, as you heard from Kevin, education is priority number one. We really exist here to educate our children. It's what we do. Really, you do it. In partnership with the administration and with parents and families. If you haven't seen it, a survey was given to newcomers to New Canaan this past summer. Not surprisingly, they listed the schools as the number one reason to move here. Not at all surprising to me. That's why I moved here. As you embark upon the school year, know that the entire community is behind you. As you go through the school year, as you have challenges or look for ways to exceed the already high achievement that we've seen here in New Canaan, ask for help, go to parents, go to the administration, talk to the Board of Ed if necessary, ask for what you need to continue to deliver greatness to our students in New Canaan. We really exist to provide that. I hope you all have a great school year. I hope the energy that you have today carries through the year, and good luck to you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Brendan. Next, please welcome a person totally invested in the good work of our teachers, students, and the district as a whole. I'm delighted to bring you New Canaan Education Association President, Mrs. Vivian Birdsall. And Viv knows I was a little nervous. I didn't forget her. She was in the speech.
My speech is a little different this year, so I thought we'd start, since it's not as personal as it usually is, I thought we'd start with my granddaughter. My first granddaughter. I've heard so many stories about my kids and places I go. I thought, I don't want you to miss that. The speech is different. So if you're really not into babies, I was hoping you'd be into baby moves. So. I want to thank you. It's very, very well received by us. And thank you for the organization. Thank you for being here and supporting us. Even that we all and Jill and Joanne, thank you. And Darlene and I have worked together for lots of years as director of special ed. So I know we're going to have a great year. And thank you for stepping up. Okay, well, we'll worry about the moose later.
Sorry.
Okay.
I have a great picture.
We'll just leave Evie there until we get to something else. So, the past couple of years have been very difficult for teachers in Connecticut. We've worried about pension funding, teacher assaults, and a myriad of things that has had teachers leaving the profession in their first few years. But lucky for us, you and I work in a school district that values education, and it values its teachers. Our administration and our Board of Education believe that strong teachers make strong students. This community invests in us. And as Brian would say, that's why we're the best. In my role as president, I'm called when there's an issue that needs to be resolved. No one ever calls the union when there's good news to share. So I was intrigued when the Connecticut Education Association contacted us last year and asked if our district was willing to ask our members to answer 2 important questions concerning their jobs. Brian and I agreed that it would be important for teachers to answer these questions, and for both of us to know the answers. We called it the Blitz. You all remember the Blitz last year? The first question was, what brings you joy in your day-to-day at school? And after all, Marie Kondo, author of Tidying Up, the Tidying Up series, says that if something sparks joy, you should keep it. So both the superintendent and the president of the NCEA wanted to know what to keep. Overwhelmingly, the answers were kids, so we're keeping them. Teachers said it in many different ways and with many different and heartwarming stories, but it was always the joy of helping students learn and grow, the joy of teachers' roles in the development of another human being to become their very best selves. The very first teacher I personally interviewed told me this story, and I hope you don't mind, because I haven't found you to ask you if I can do this. On the first day of school, a student came into my classroom using a walker and a feeding tube. You know who you are now. She was so very sweet and smiling and full of potential. It broke my heart to see how far she needed to be able to go to keep up with her peers. We all worked so hard that year for her. There were days I went home exhausted and only thinking of how I would help her the next day. Now it's 3 years later, and I go out to the playground just to watch her run and play with the other students. She's thriving and happy, and I know she's going to be okay. It brings me great joy to know that I had a part in that every day I have a chance to help a student overcome the odds. I have to admit to you that I had tears in my eyes while she was telling me that story. I heard stories of students who couldn't or wouldn't move forward until a teacher found a way to understand what to do to help that student blossom. Teachers talked about how important their colleagues are to help them support and collaborate in the pursuit of student success. From the first hug on the first day of school until the last handshake at graduation, we care about our kids. We are what public education should be, and we need to be proud of that fact. We work hard. We have hours and hours of professional development and coursework. We are among the best educated teachers in the state. Our teachers don't stop at master's degrees. We have 6 years degrees and EDDs and PhDs and law degrees. And we don't stop there. We get certified in specific techniques, and we take classes in new ideas. Let me tell you this, delivering content is a breeze. Keeping my place is not.
Understanding how to get a child to embrace that content and make it part of themselves is a finely honed skill. How many professions can boast that they change lives every day? New Canaan students thrive. They become adults who come back to us all the time and say this: because of you, because of my experience in your class, because you cared, I have made good choices. This year, I promise that the goal of the NCEA will be to let our community know who we are and what we have done and will continue to do for their children. I want everyone to know how incredible the teachers of New Canaan are. The teachers who take their students to national finals and win. The teachers who are accomplished musicians and artists. The teachers who work and volunteer for local organizations that advance the lives of children. Or how about the teacher who gave up her time to run and finish the Boston Marathon and raise $11,000 for the local chapter of Health Pennsylvania? That's who New Canaan teachers are. And what about the second question? We asked during the Blitz, what takes the joy away from your day-to-day? Again, different answers, different stories, but overwhelmingly, you answered, anything that takes time away from kids. Not surprising at all. Go ahead and give yourself an applause. That's important. We are still coordinating the data from the Blitz, and you can see the results on our new website. You think we could get the website up? We're going to try. This year, This year, Ronovan Vagel, who is our vice president and webmaster, has increased our presence
On social media.
but not a microphone. There we go. It's your fault. I've never had these problems before. We are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And right now, I'm giving you permission to take out your phones and join us on those social media sites. Please join our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram accounts. It's about you. This is our news website, nca-ct.org. You know, getting around to 400 teachers was quite an accomplishment. With the help of the CEA, we reached most of you. We're going to use that data to further our cause and make our organization even better. This year, let us know who you are. Let us know what you and your colleagues are doing above and beyond your classroom and those wonderful things that are happening in your classroom. Teachers are so bad at letting people know how great they are. You need to do that this year. That's our goal. And we'll take it from there. Just let us know. So remember, together we are one voice. And there's our website.
So much taller than I am. Thank you, Viv, and everything that Vivian just said about our New Canaan Public Schools teachers that is positive is absolutely true. Finally, we're so fortunate to have a leader of our school district whose time with us has been marked by innovation, high standards, wisdom, caring, collaboration, and inspiration for all of us. We're so fortunate to have a leader who embodies all of these qualities in a time when it's so necessary. Please join me in welcoming New Canaan Superintendent of Schools, now beginning his 6th year as our leader, Dr. Brian Muncie.
And I've learned over 5 years not to use the technology. It took me 5. There we go. All right. Wow. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the beginning of a new school year. I have a few thank yous as we begin. First, of course, I want to say Thank you to Darlene, Lisa Abrams, the whole HR crew for putting together this outstanding morning for us. It's really been nice. Thank you. I think she can still hear me. I do also want to say thanks to Michelle and the members of the food service staff and all our PTC volunteers. The generosity of time, talent, spirit's a gift to all of us and to our stomachs. So it really is wonderful to see all of you here this morning. It means so much to me and to us as a school district to come together the way that we do to start our new year. It is energizing and inspiring to see our professional family come together. I'm honored to stand here before you to share a few words prior to your going out and doing the great work that you do. As we continue, I do want to acknowledge a few other folks who are here with us this morning, some special people. So first, it is my pleasure to welcome and say thank you to the members of the Board of Ed who have joined us. There are many reasons that I feel like the luckiest superintendent in the country. First of all of you. Also, our fabulous Board of Education. As a district, we are incredibly lucky to have a Board of Ed that truly values and respects the great work that we do. Trust me, it's rare. Like you, they love our kids, they honor our staff, and they value our community. Truly, like so much that is New Canaan, our Board of Ed is second to none. So we are extremely lucky to have such an excellent board. So I'm going to name all of the board members because I think that it's important to do so. Every one of them wanted to be here, and there are personal reasons that they couldn't be. So I do want to say thank you to our chair, Brendan Hayes, vice chair, Deanna Carlson, Jen Richardson, our secretary, Penny Rations, Sherry West, Katrina Parkhill, Tom Cronin, Julie Reeves, and Maria Melton. You guys truly are. It's an honor to represent you. I do also want to take a moment to thank our first selectman, Kevin Moynihan, for joining us this morning. Since taking office almost 2 years ago, Kevin has dedicated his significant time and talent to improving the town for our schools, our families, in many important ways. Kevin, in that short time, has become a regional and town leader. He's a strong partner for us and a very good supporter of the schools. And you didn't steal my thunder by taking our ranking, which has been updated to first, second, and fourth for our elementary schools, by the way. We'll update that slide. But it was the conclusion of last year's budget process. And as you know, the process begins in November, December, runs through into the spring. And by the time we get to that final town council vote in April, it's been a long and arduous process. And that night at the town council, there was a vote, and it was a 6-6 tie. And at first, the chair kept going, as if the vote had gone down. And so we also looked and said, hold on. It's a tie, and the first selectman breaks that tie. So Kevin was called up to the podium, and I tried really hard to make eye contact, and I couldn't quite catch his eye as he went up there, and I don't blame him. But he walked up to the podium and very decisively voted in favor and in support of our school district and our budget. And Kevin, I want to assure you and reassure you, you're looking out at the finest educators that there are. And we will make sure that that vote was well cast. Thank you. I do also want to take a moment to recognize and thank Vivian, our NCEA president. As a teacher, a colleague, and a leader, you never cease to amaze and to impress. Each year, Viv and I get together prior to coming up here and speaking with you all, and either she says to me or I say to her, "So you're nervous?" And the answer is always, "Yeah." No matter how many times you do this to inaugurate the school year, there are always some butterflies, and I think that's because it's so important, because we value this time together so much. And I just want to share that this year, under Viv's guidance and direction, she's talking about everybody else. What she didn't talk about was something really wonderful that occurred in her classroom this past year, where a group of students won the state and then went on to national competition in the Samsung Solve for Tomorrow contest. I had a chance to go and visit with the team over at Saks, And to a kid, they told me how wonderful Miss Birdsall was. They told me what an amazing classroom environment she created for them, and how in their class they could explore, experiment, they could fail, they could try again, they could fail again, they could figure it out, and that how Miss Birdsall was always there to support and encourage them, and that never, ever did any of this happen with any fear of criticism or judgment by her. And it really was powerful for me. So it's always a pleasure to thank Vivian for her great work as NCA president, but I also want to recognize her for just being a truly awesome teacher in our schools. There are others that are not in the room that I want to thank briefly. Of course, our custodial, facilities staff have done another amazing job preparing our buildings. We had, again, significant work going on. You'll see some of the changes when you get in. Air conditioning at the 3 elementary schools and the gyms and around those hallways. Of course, the new roof over at South, which you may not see, but it matters. And we'll be installing solar panels up there soon. That'll help us. We'll almost be able to take that building off the grid. And you know, that's something else that I want to give Kevin credit for here, that he's been an amazing partner for our schools as we've looked to continue to build in sustainable approaches to running our buildings, you know, on the operational side. The move to natural gas in the buildings would not have happened without Kevin. As we look, now we're putting solar on the South, we're going to look at our elementary schools and do the same thing. It's environmentally much more friendly, and it saves us a little bit of money. And it wouldn't happen without Kevin's support. Thank you. You know, Kevin, you said that he's the largest crowd that can't vote for you, but by the time we're done, they're all going to want to. Anyway, air conditioning, the new roof, of course, much less interesting, but equally important, a new waistline under the hallways at Saks. You don't want that to be visible. So, these are large projects that all happen, and it happens over the summer in a very compressed timeline. And it's thanks to our facilities maintenance crew that get that building back in place. So when you come in today, and our parents come in later on today, and kids and others, we're proud of it. Because environment matters, right? The buildings, the shape of the buildings, what it looks like matters. And our facilities crew and maintenance crew knows that. So if you agree, say thanks. It means a lot to them. I also want to say thanks to our secretaries and the other staff who worked all throughout the summer. It was a beautiful summer, wasn't it? The weather was just gorgeous. But their hard work throughout the summer makes sure that the programs run well, that people are paid, that our supplies are ordered, that things show up, they're here waiting for you. And it's thanks to all of their good work throughout the summer, when many of us are reading our books and enjoying ourselves, that makes all that happen. So I want to say thanks to them as well. And to our newest community members who are... I'm sorry. Okay. No, I was wondering if you were looking at me watching the NCA website. Not that that'd be a real bad thing, but it'd be different. I'd be the only superintendent in the country, probably, welcoming people back with, okay, anyway. It's okay. I'm a fan. Anyway, to our newest community members, everyone joining our district, I do want to now, in person, say welcome, instead of on a strange, weird video that I made before driving my daughter off to college. But as you can see, you're joining a family of world-class educators. People in this room, to a person, they love our kids, they value our colleagues, they respect our community, and they honor our profession. So I do want to say welcome. You know, we are thrilled that you're all joining us, and we look to you to help us to continually improve on behalf of the children in our care. So welcome. So for us in the Lexi House, we had a wonderful and emotional summer. It followed an incredible school year for Josie and Mia. Josie was a senior this past year and Mia was a sophomore. So if you have kids who have been that age before, or anywhere near that, you'll understand why my mind was spinning practically all the time. One was coming while the other one was going, different activities, different things. And of course, with Josie driving, it made it nearly impossible to try to keep up with anything. But thanks to my wife, we managed, and here we are. So throughout the year, both girls continued playing volleyball. Josie was team captain, was selected for the All-SWC team, and they did really well at the SWC tournament for the first time since the 1990s, which was a pretty big deal. I do want to share one of the highlights of my life came in the second round of that tournament when I looked out on the court and Josie and Mia were actually on the court at the same time. Now in volleyball, you only have 6 players out on the court. And so the 2 of them together went out there and they were laughing and supporting. Volleyball is a great sport because after each point, the whole team comes together and they, high five or whatever they do. And watching them do that, and Josie and Mia together with the other girls, it was a really powerful moment for me. And as I reflected on it afterwards, I thought about how I've watched hundreds, if not thousands, of events throughout my career, right? Different games and plays and other things. And as I think about it, I bet at every single one of them, somebody looked out on the field or in the pool or on the court or on the stage and felt that same way about their own kids. And it just made me so grateful to have the opportunity to do what we do, to work with kids and work with families the way that we do, and to create those conditions for people to feel those kinds of emotions, that kind of love for their kids and for everything that's happening. So anyway, after volleyball season, the college application process hit our house, like it does many, like a sledgehammer. It's a tough experience for kids and families. So after applying to a very well-balanced and thought-out list of 7 schools, we had 2 likely, 3 just right, and 2 stretches. I think I'm using the right terminology, right? Yeah, you'd think so. After doing that, it blew up. And we applied to like 20. I've come to realize that the real enemy of the people is the Common App. I hate the Common App. I do. So if you haven't gone through this, essentially click once you apply one place, your credit card information gets saved in the computer. And so it doesn't become, hey Dad, can I apply there? It becomes, hey Dad, I just applied there. It's like, stop, it doesn't stop. Anyway, I couldn't believe what was happening. Anyone with parents of seniors this year, God bless you. But after the application season goes, comes the waiting game. Right? And so then you're waiting, and you're waiting, and you're getting nervous, and you don't know what's going to happen. But luckily, Josie, it was the busiest year she's ever had in the spring, and she played the Drew Barrymore part in the musical The Wedding Singer, right? Which was amazing. It was just watching her on stage and doing all that was just amazing. It was an experience I'll never forget, especially since I got to see the boy playing the Adam Sandler part kiss her 8 times in 4 days. 4 of which in a wedding gown. That's why I couldn't put pictures up. I'm too emotional. Too emotional. So, but it was amazing. She was busy. And of course, the responses from colleges have to come out the week of the show. God help us, right? Thank you. Yeah, the collective groan goes up. But anyway, she did all right. Some were up, some were down, whatever. But it is heartbreaking to see your kid go through this, right? It's kids who, they do so many things right. They work so hard, and then they send off these applications, and they just have to wait and wait and wait. No matter how successful kids are in high school, the college crapshoot is brutal. And that's what I feel like it's come to be. When you hear about what's sort of decisions and responses and all of that stuff, I know I'm sure there's a science to it. Everybody looks to me as if I know something. I know nothing. And I think I know less now, having gone through it, than I thought I knew before. But it's brutal. Counselors, I know you know, but I do wish I knew. When I was teaching English in Newtown High School those years ago, I wish I knew how hard this was for kids. I might have had a little more empathy when they weren't doing their reading at night. It's rough, and it's not getting any easier. But in the end, it works out for the majority of kids, and I think it worked out spectacularly for Josie. So I'm proud to say last week we moved her into Wake Forest in North Carolina. And actually, she's sitting in class right now. That's awesome, right? That's great. That's great, I like that. So she's sitting in Spanish right now. And she had her seal of biliteracy. And she placed out of the intro Spanish classes because of all of that. I was very proud of her seal of literacy. And she's doing very, very well. I was telling people this morning, actually, I have to tell a story. So I was, she FaceTimed with me yesterday, and she was actually doing some homework, preparing for Canaan because they had homework to do. And, it's just me, my wife, Jody, and Mia, my daughter, they're out doing whatever, so I'm talking, and I asked her a question that I'm going to learn not to ask anyone. What'd you do last night? Bad question. Don't ask it. See, I know nothing. So she sort of giggles and says, well, we went off campus last night. And I said, you went off campus? You've only been on campus for 3 days. Why are you going off campus? What are you doing off campus? She laughs again. And this is FaceTime, so you can see. And she laughs again and says, we went to a party because all the upperclassmen came back Friday, Saturday. We went to a party at a frat house. You did? No. How did you get there? Well, the pledges drive us. You see, the pledges can only get to the party if they bring a lot of girls with them. Stop asking that question. But now I'm even up. And then she's still laughing. I said, well, why are you still laughing, Josie? I'm looking for the, I'm going to need to go. And she says, well, that's not the end of it. We got home at 1:30, and then my roommate wanted to go back out. Okay, your roommate wanted to go back out. So we got a whole bunch of people on the floor together, and we went back out. We walked to another party. Now my daughter she's just, whatever. So she promises me that she is doing the right things and making, whatever. We're all watching out for each other. We're doing this. I said, okay, fine. So what party did you go to? Stupid. Well, it was at Deke House. It's a Deke House. I went to a seminar for parents while I was there that told me Deke was kicked off campus. Yeah, it was a little off campus. She's in class right now. That's all I need to ask. How was class today, Josie? Have a nice weekend. So, I'm learning. Well, thank you. I'm learning. Support group meets after. You think I'm kidding? And I'm not alone, right? Hey, raise your hand if you dropped a child off at college this year. Yeah, you're welcome to join the support group. I'll send it out. Yeah, definitely. And the last piece about all of this, of course, now you may remember, I'm a very, very proud Clemson Tiger. Clemson's in the ACC. My daughter Josie, who I love, with all of who I am, is going to Wake Forest, also in the ACC, and a rival of Clemson. Don't take it personally. Anyway, silver lining, the boyfriend's going to Colgate. So, now that I'm going to stop asking Josie questions, you're going to have to learn a little more about me in the years ahead. I'll just start by letting you know that she is rightfully terrified about being an only child in the next couple of years. And at dinner last night, as we started talking to her about what a great junior year in high school she's going to have, you just saw one tear go down her face. And she said, I miss Josie. And I understand that too. So, dropping off a child in college it's simultaneously, it's so difficult and so awe-inspiring at the same time. When I think about it, and as I was thinking about today, I knew we'd be standing here and I knew what I'd be looking at. And it's something that I've actually been thinking about quite a bit. A single quote, a single sentence that's on the back wall here, which is, what we are to be, we're now becoming. Right? I love that. And it feels like that's sort of the cycle of our lives as educators. We get to spend a year with our students, 182 days, as we help them learn and grow into the people whom they're meant to be. At the conclusion of each year, we have to let them go. They go on to their summers, they move up to the next grade, they start a new year. And we're blessed with the opportunity to meet a whole new group who are equally eager to learn and grow. And we get a chance to do it again. and maybe even a little better. Because like our students, we also spent last year learning, growing, sort of discovering ourselves, becoming the people who we are meant to be. As a school system, we continue to learn and grow as well. As you'll recall, last year we began our new alternative high school program, affectionately now called the Downtown Campus. Thanks to the awesome staff and the strong support from the Board of Education, this program quickly became another source of great pride for our district and an amazing environment for our kids. So as someone who started his career in an alternative program years and years ago, well, not that many years, but years ago, I'm amazed to see how quickly this program found its legs, gained credibility, and began serving the needs of some of our kids who really need it the most. So I want to say thank you for that, and I can't wait to see what comes next in that really, really great program. This year, we're also continuing our focus on emotional intelligence by working with the EI design teams at each school and continuing to integrate age-appropriate lessons into our classrooms. Dr. Susan Bliss will continue to coordinate this important work at a district level in conjunction with the building-based teams. And as we move into year 3, I'm excited to see the whole school community's emotional intelligence evolve and grow. I often use and reflect upon the tools of emotional intelligence in my personal and professional life, especially the meta moment, which comes in very handy during budget deliberations and when dropping your daughter off at college. But regular check-ins on the mood meter have become a habit for me throughout the day. And I've been so impressed by the creative ways that many of you have incorporated EI into your classrooms. For example, last spring, I had the privilege of reading to kindergarten classes over at South. And after our time together, students began transitioning into another activity. Along the way, many of them were going over to the wall, and I didn't know what was there, so I took a walk over, and I saw this big felt mood meter, and they were moving their names. And I thought, oh my God, what if they're all like blue and sad? Like hated what we just did, or even worse, what if they're like red and they're like mad at me for something? Like there was a real moment of like terror that this kindergarten class was going to be. Anyway, fortunately they were okay, and I left the room with my ego relatively unscathed. And I say relatively because reading a kindergarten class or any elementary class is one of the most humbling things you can ever do. It's amazing and I love it, but it is like taking a humility pill. You leave there like, wow, this is hard. But I will put out a shameless plug to all the elementary folks. Invite me in anytime. I absolutely love being there. But just warn me if you're going to have them rate me when I leave. Anyway, to think about EI in school climate is also to think about school safety. As we know, the best way to keep our schools safe is to continue nurturing and strengthening a positive, trusting, inclusive school community where kids trust adults and where we all look after each other. Years ago, we started talking to kids about moving from a bystander to an ally, and that work remains important today. We've also come to realize that students will only be allies if they believe in and trust the adults around them. And so our work on emotional intelligence, school climate, positive student engagement continues to evolve. In some ways, it feels like we're fighting an uphill battle. The toxicity of national politics seems to leach into all of our lives. Here we are in 2019, and our country seems less inclusive, less understanding, and less safe for everyone, especially those who identify with traditionally marginalized groups. The generation of children coming through our doors on Thursday are more connected through technology, yet they're simultaneously more depressed than any other generation in history. Many have some degree of addiction to social media and/or video games, and yet the amount of time they spend online is inversely correlated with their happiness. Yet they continue to go onto social media, they continue to endlessly play the games, and they continue to become more and more depressed. It's a tough environment for our kids. And yet I wholeheartedly believe that our schools are the answer to what's ailing our kids and our country. In our schools, we can teach students the value of real human connection. We can create the conditions for them to experience the power of collaboration and teamwork in pursuit of a goal. And they can feel the exhilaration of struggling and challenging themselves on their way to great accomplishments. In our schools, our students can feel valued for who they are, can know that we love them and believe in them, regardless of their backgrounds, their gender, their sexual orientation, or their beliefs. Here in our schools, our students can learn to become responsible producers of information, to be careful with what they publish and share, and when they make mistakes, we can correct them with a growth mindset, helping them to learn from the experience. We can teach our students to be discerning consumers of information. Just because something is online doesn't make it true. We all know that. Yet disinformation campaigns are sophisticated and complex, and we must give our students the tools to discern between fact and opinion, between truth and lies. If something is scientifically known, it's not an opinion. It's scientifically known. That's how we move forward as a society. That's how we move forward, by teaching our students to stand on the shoulders of giants that have come before us, and to therefore become giants themselves. In our schools, we can provide the environment our kids need to break out of the cognitive and emotional traps that are laid before them and to become independently thinking, courageous, connected, empathetic, kind, and self-actualized young people who will in their lifetimes improve our communities, our country, and the world. That's why the work we do in our schools is the most important work on the planet. I believe the fate of the planet actually depends on the work that we do every day. And the passion, dedication, and skill that you bring to the classroom, to your schools, makes me confident that things will get better and that our best years are still ahead of us. School's about to start. On Thursday night, parents all over New Canaan are going to be asking their kids, how was your first day? Like all of us, students will define and remember their experiences through their emotions. You want them to say something positive about your class? Show them that you care by being kind, open, and interested, and you'll begin making those connections on day one. We've all heard the adage, don't smile till Thanksgiving. That's bunk. My advice is to smile on Thursday on your way to school. Smile on your way into the building, smile in your classroom, show your students that you love your job, that you have fun doing it, and that you're happy they're here. Yeah, it's really, really hard work. The most important work on the planet should be hard work. Right? But show your kids with authenticity from the very beginning that you love what you do, and I'm convinced you'll have an amazing school year. And anyway, if you don't smile till Thanksgiving, you just may forget how to smile at all. Wouldn't that be awful? We have so much to be grateful for. On Thursday, 4,173 students, many of whom are kindergartners, will arrive eager, excited, and nervous as they enter our schools and classrooms, ready to have the best year that they've ever had. Every single child comes to school full of hopes for a great school year. And we, everyone in this room, has a chance to reinforce these hopes with every interaction we have with these kids. Lead with a smile. We're spending our days together doing the most important work on the planet as members of a strong and supportive school community in a town that honors and appreciates our efforts. And on top of all that, we get to do it with the most amazing colleagues and professionals on the planet. Your students are incredibly lucky to have you as their teacher, and I'm equally lucky to have you as a colleague. So thank you for all that you do. From the bottom of my heart, I wish you and your students the very best year that you've ever had. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Lutzy. What you just said made me feel very proud to be here, and I know that everyone in the room feels the same way. We all want to wish you the most wonderful of school years. I know that it will be great. I'm so looking forward to being out in the building, seeing all of you as my much as possible. Enjoy each other, enjoy your students, and enjoy your families. We're very, very fortunate to be here, and we're very fortunate to have all of you. So please have a great year. Thank you so much.